Hi, this is Eric Humphrey from Quiet on the Stat. We're here at 3407 Studio, and sitting with me here today is Baltimore native Teren Carter, who is an actor um, who have had his first production with German production of Miss Saigon. Tell us about your humble beginnings.
Hey, Eric. And yep, those were my roots.
Yeah, tell me about tell me about that production.
Okay, all right. So back when I was a wee fella, my very first production, professional production, was out of New York in the German production, Miss Saigon.
Mm-hmm.
It was already running on Broadway. It was already running in London, and they were doing a third company, third or fourth company. I think Toronto was one of the others, and one of the cities in Germany was doing a production. So they brought in all their regional creative team, their director and everything, who created the other productions to mount the German production. It was sung in German, so we had to learn, lyrics in German rather.
So you sing
so
as
it was
well.
in Stuttgart. Yeah, it was a musical. Miss Saigon's a
yeah,
musical.
I know.
They cast singers and dancers and actors in that.
Because some actors can't sing and some singers can't act.
Definitely, yeah. But in musical theater, you have to really. I think I heard you speaking about that in one of your earlier interviews. That to be competitive in New York City, you really do have to be a triple threat, or at least a double threat. You got to be able to act and sing, or dance and sing.
Dance and sing
for musicals.
Yeah. You just can't come in there and act because they say do a step and you can't have your two left feet.
That's right. Yeah.
So
if you're in the ensemble as a dancer, you still got to be able to carry a tune because they're singing.
You're right.
If you're a lead, you got to be able to act. You got to be able to sing.
Yeah.
Dancing, they don't do
so take that into consideration, young one.
Yeah.
You got to do it all.
Got to do it all.
So tell us about after that production. What happened in your life? What doors opened after you did Miss Saigon?
I went to Germany. I did that for about 4 or 5 months in a town called Stuttgart. And after about 4 or 5 months, I started getting restless.
And why was that?
Because to live in Germany, you really need to be able to speak the language. There is some English, but our show is all in German. The cast crew spoke. So when I would come home at the end of the day to watch TV, everything was in German. And, since I wasn't a German speaker, and I'm a homebody, I like to come home at the end of the day after work or whatever and just kind of sit and watch TV or whatever.
I'm like,
See, I told you. So if I spoke German fluently, I probably would have stayed and been more comfortable. And the other reason was because I wasn't cast in one of the principal roles. I was ensemble. So for me, it's an amazing show, but I felt like the ensemble, we were just changing clothes. We would come out, do a scene, go back, change clothes, become a different character. And I wanted something more. So I had my sights set on something bigger.
So let me rewind the tape. When you did it in New York, did you have were you an ensemble?
I never did it in New York City. I never played on Broadway.
Oh, okay.
I did the German production.
My bad. I'm thinking my thing went to the left.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Never mind. I'm not going to explain why.
But anyway, so I stayed for 4 months. I did that, and then I got an opportunity to get signed to a German record label as a singer. So I went to Berlin, worked with a producer.
What type of music?
R&B, not R&B, pop, R&B, some dance music.
Yeah.
So I worked with this guy.
Were you a
for a couple of months? No, because that contract didn't. He wanted to take my music. He was really trying to steal my music.
Wow.
I'll put it like this: he wasn't trying to. I was writing the songs, and he wanted to share credit and royalties. And I wasn't.
Okay.
For that. So I came back to New York.
So did anything?
I
mean, did you nothing? So you didn't really produce?
I did that. Recorded some songs. Yeah.
Okay. Did they go out and?
No, because there was.
Okay.
That was agreed, and I came back to the States and booked my next thing. I think I got the national tour of Jesus Christ Superstar.
That's what I was going to ask you about that. Now, how did that work out?
Yeah, that was great. Went out. I got hired to do that. It was an amazing show. I got to work with, if you ever saw the movie version,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ Superstar with Ted Neely, Carl Anderson. I mean, these are incredible performers, and I was working with those guys.
Right.
And every night, you know, when Carl was doing his things and ripping and singing and performing and stuff,
Yeah, I
I'm
loved
standing,
it.
I'm standing in the wings, just
Mhm.
taking it all in, learning, watching.
Mhm.
Yeah, and when Ted Neely would be up on that cross as Jesus, I mean, you really believed, you know. So I loved it. Yeah.
Oh,
It was
okay.
like a religious experience to watch the show, and here I was stepping in to be a part of the show.
So, what made you want to become an actor?
My mother tells me from the time I was 4 if I was in front of the TV and recite the commercials. Anything that came on TV, commercials or TV shows, I would recite along. So I was memorizing and repeating back and performing then. So she saw something from that age. I didn't really get interested in performing arts until like 13, 14. Studied dance first, then that moved over into music, and then acting really came.
So, did you go to a performing arts school, or
No.
where did you go?
I went to high school for engineering
Wow.
in Baltimore. And when I went off to college, I studied engineering, but I was still doing performing arts. Well, I'll put it like this, let me back up. Every day I went to school, it was engineering prep school, preparing students to become engineers, doctors, and scientists. That was by day. After school, I went to the Peabody, and that's where I studied dance, or I went to Towson State University, and that's where I studied. So I was doing kind of both, you left and right brain.
So, when you went out and graduated from high school, went to
Yep.
college, and
Went
all,
off to college, and
did you ever have a job in the engineering
no,
area, or?
no, I didn't. Yeah, well, I'd take that back. At one point, I think maybe 3 or 4 years in, I worked, did an internship at NASA Goddard Space Center, right up the street. What else? Internship at NASA Goddard Space Center. I also got hired in my 4th year of college. I got hired a full-time job, a computer programming job at a company in Silver Spring. So I was always doing 2 things at the same time: the creative and the analytical.
And that kind of
Some people
balanced
wait,
you.
some people wait tables while they're trying to get their big break. I was, a computer programmer. I was doing technology, and I was
But you
always
still-
trying to figure
I feel that I'm not doing what I really
Yeah,
want to do.
it was all that. I just asked God, what is it? Why are you giving me gifts in both areas? How am I
Yeah, no,
supposed
isn't
to
that
use
strange?
these? Yeah.
Well, maybe because something will connect with the engineering or the computer, because everything is either
It's connected, right?
Everything is internet now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe
What I
you'll use your
figured out-
skills on that.
I think what I figured out was, okay, you know how you've heard the stories how people, starving artists, in New York, trying to make it, and what do they do in the meantime? Wait tables, things like that. So I didn't have to wait tables. I was
Right.
working as a programmer. I was working as an IT
Right.
person or whatever. So that's where it made sense. I had practical skills to keep the rent paid while I was pursuing.
Yeah, and that's
the,
I kind of did that too while I was going to school for film and television. I didn't think. Thank you, Jesus. I never saw. I had a friend had PhDs and
Right.
masters in the arts, and they were looking for work. And I said, I'm glad I honed another skill. So that makes a lot of. But I'm not saying it's bad, guys. Work. Do what you can do to put food on your table, especially these times. So, how are you handling COVID, being an artist?
Well, the live performance aspect went away right away in March. All the theaters shut down, and that was a big blow. But for me, I was always doing theater, but I was also doing film and TV at the same time, whether it was working as a background actor on a lot of shows or as a lead actor on some things or whatever. So after a couple of months, the film and TV industry started to come back.
Right.
And they just came back with real strict COVID protocols, masking on testing right before, that. So they following Tyler Perry's lead, created a whole system of or protocol that has to be followed in order for that industry to go on. So I was able to continue to work, not at the rate, not anything close to like before, but I was able to, to do something. Theater is going to be a different story. It's going to be probably in May before that comes back.
Yeah, one of my directing friends here, he did virtual theater.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He did virtual theater, and it went well. It went well. Everybody got a chance. I think you.
Were they doing new pieces, or were they showing film of things that had already been formed?
No, this is new pieces.
New stuff. Okay. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, new pieces.
Yeah.
His acting, his drama group, his actors and everything, production on the set, and then the actual the shooting of the scenes of each act, and they put it on the web. Yeah.
Now it's smart. That's the thing about COVID. No matter whether you're an actor or anything, people have found that they had to get creative, find ways to work around.
Yeah.
Life needs to go on, but how can I work around it and stay safe and keep my people safe at the same time? I think that's been the big lesson of COVID.
So in 2016, you were voted, or the Commercial Critics Circle voted you as
Connecticut Critics.
Yeah.
Connecticut Critics Circle. I won the Connecticut. Yeah, I won the Connecticut Critics Circle Award for playing the role of Del Rey in a production of Memphis the Musical.
Okay.
So I was doing a production of Memphis the Musical at a theater in Connecticut, and at the end of the season they review all the everything in Connecticut. And to my surprise, I got a call from my. I had already finished the show and come back to New York, and I get a call from my former producer that, can you come up to Connecticut to such and such or whatever this Friday night? You won an award. I can't, you can't say anything, but they told me that I won the award before,
they wasn't
so I knew.
Supposed to tell you.
No, she had to tell me because they wanted me to be there to accept it. So they had to tell me in advance.
Right, not saying come and you don't win.
Right. Which some people did, because I know that there were some other people there who were nominated and they didn't win their categories, but they told me, probably knowing that I was coming from New York. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a nice recognition of what I was doing. I was doing it because I love the work, but to have that was really nice.
So you have a good listing on your repertoire of different films and short films. There's a couple that mentioned in your bio, like Motherless Brooklyn, that starred Ed Norton Jr., famous actor in Baltimore, I believe.
Actor, director,
blah, 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 blah. You got to do it all in this industry.
Yeah.
And then you had a CBS episodic series, FBI. So we got the reel, so we're gonna run it.
Okay.
So
cool.
you wanna lead off and tell us about Motherless Brooklyn?
Yeah. So Motherless Brooklyn is a period piece, starring and directed by Ed Norton Jr. You guys can look him up if you're not sure who he is, but he's done some major TV movies or whatever over the years.
Which one of those?
I don't remember. I don't know his bio, and I can't remember the names of them. But IMDb him. But so I got a chance to do this small role. Yeah. So roll the clip.
We're gonna roll the clip on the Motherless Brooklyn. Oh, that's it.
You can have him. He's right there. He's in the studio.
Yeah, he's in the studio.
He wants to throw a question to somebody in the audience who had a question.
Yeah, someone in the audience had a question. Can you recite that question?
Um, I asked two. Which one? Look.
Well, give me one of them. We'll see which one
Go for
it
it.
was.
Um, how is it working with other actors? Like,
Just like
oh,
just like people, when you work in corporate world, you got people that you connect with and do their work well, or you vibe with, and then you get the people who can be very difficult. And most of the productions I've worked on, say in theater,
Mm.
great cast, everybody got along well together, everybody supported each other, and there were no divas. So I've been fortunate, but I've heard horror stories too.
What was the second question?
I can't even think.
It'll come back to you.
It'll come back to audience with that question. So, tell us about Motherless Brooklyn. How was the production?
There's an interesting story with Motherless Brooklyn. So we were shooting that in 2018. It finally got released in 2019. One particular day, and we were shooting the scene that you just saw at a famous jazz club in Harlem. It's set in Harlem, a famous club in Harlem. One particular night, so we were shooting in the club, and there were probably 50, 60 extras and the crew and everybody or whatever this particular night. So I'm on a break, and I'm sitting upstairs on the second floor above the club, and all of a sudden we started smelling smoke. I'm like, and we're thinking, it's our phone that's overheating. We're thinking the heaters that we were using, because it was cold, were overheating. Something in the room was smelling. Yeah. Well, we go around and around for about 15 minutes. All of a sudden, I see a vent on the wall in those old. Yeah, so we were like, okay, let's get out of this building just to be on the safe side.
And what
So
scene
as we
was it?
start, so this was happening during the shooting. I don't know what scene it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but so as we're leaving, me and my some of my actor friends were leaving the building. The crew was starting to come up to clear out the building. What was going on was there was a fire that was that had broken out in the basement in the furnace,
okay.
and it was starting to envelop the whole building. Anyway, they got all the crew out, got all the cast out, they got all their equipment out. They sent all of us back to the holding area to start changing, and they shut down the production for the night. By the time 30 minutes later we got back around, I came back around the corner just to see on my way to the train. The whole building, brownstone, was in fire, flames shooting out.
Wow.
There had to be 12 or 14 trucks, emergency vehicles, postal stuff. It was So anyway, a fireman got killed in that fire, lost his life, I guess, trying to save people and get people out of the building and put out and the production got sued. There was just a lot that went on, but that was and it was all over the news and everything because big Hollywood production.
What was your most memorable part playing that character?
Well, that kind of role is different what I normally play. I usually play CIA agents, FBI, doctor types, the nice guy next door type role, white collar or blue collar, whatever. I've never played a thug or a thuggish type of character, and you'll see something else that you guys are going to show later on. So for me, it was a change and a chance for me to expand my range and do something other than the law enforcement type roles that I usually do.
So how much work you had to put in to get to that character?
Came natural.
Came natural. He ain't telling us his secret. No. He don't want y'all to come up on him.
No, it actually, it just happened. I guess that guy was
inside of you.
Yeah.
This came out.
And you just
you cuss a lot in your films.
All right.
Yeah,
right.
You mean.
But in those kind of roles,
he's mean, y'all.
Yeah, but I'm a nice guy.
You got a nice guy look, but
I'm the kind of guy you can bring home to your mama, seriously, and she would approve. But if she sees that other,
you see them films, he'd be like, "Hey, take it." No, but really, that's what you got to do. So, tell us a little bit about the FBI TV episodic.
Well, FBI, you guys know that's a show that's on CBS, crime drama. And I got a role a chance to play a cop on that short scene, short to the point, and yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're gonna roll that.
Playing NYPD's finest, yeah.
Okay, and we'll talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, on the other side.
On the other side, the production side and all that. Can you roll like FBI?
Excuse me. We'd like to speak to one of your patients, Kevin Okoro.
He died an hour ago.
From his injuries?
Can I help you guys?
Yeah, we came in here to check on Kevin Okoro. We just heard he passed.
Yeah. Oh, somebody suffocated.
Okay, so tell us about FBI.
What
was it like?
Yeah.
What was it like getting
When I got the role, I'm at
this is
home.
major CBS.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a small role,
Yeah.
one line, it's still major.
Well, the way that this one happened, I'm at home one day just kind of relaxing. I'm piddling around the house or whatever. I get a phone call from my agent and some texts from my managers. They were both trying to get in touch with me. Teren, we need you to come into the city. Can you be there in like an hour? We need you to audition for the producer and the director. And so, of course, so I throw it together. I go and went into the room where the director, the producer, and some other people were casting or whatever. And of course, I was nervous, but I had to get automatically into my police officer, mode, and went in, did the scene. They sent me the scene, so I was able to learn the lines on the train on the way over, and got in and did it. And they called me when I got home and said, "You got the role." Yeah. So
Oh, very
and we
well.
did,
So besides Ed Norton Jr., have you played
I'm trying to think. No names that you would know. Yeah. So not yet, but hopefully that's where my career is going.
I'm more than sure you're still a star. All these big shows on the big TV stations and stuff.
I'm a star in the making.
You're a star in the making. No, we're gonna claim.
Well, we're gonna claim it. Okay.
You're gonna be. You're there already. Just that more work have to come.
Yeah, definitely more opportunities. Yeah.
And what is the day in the life of Teren Carter?
Man, pre or post COVID? I mean, pre or in COVID. Lately, it's been.
We can go. Let's see. Let's
Before?
go pro. No, let's go. Well,
Now that we're in
post-
COVID?
Now that
Yeah,
we're in
now
COVID,
we're
we can't
in
even go
COVID.
post COVID.
Yeah, right. We got about 6
Current.
more months for that.
The day in the life or the current.
My life is pretty low key. Reading script or reading online, a play reading or a reading of a script with other actors through Zoom or whatever, or doing an audition. A few times a week, I'll get a scene from my agent or manager that says, we want to, you have an audition coming up, so you got to learn. Yeah, so it's learning scenes, auditioning them, putting them on tape, sending them in. A lot of our time is consumed with that. When I have quiet time, I try to go to the gym and break up the monotony. I go fully masked. And,
He's adamant about that. He always both beat me up.
Right, about
like,
the whole
look, man,
masking
I got
thing,
you. I got you.
Testing,
I'm
masking, ventilation. We got all
We're
that.
gonna make sure
on.
you win that. You're gonna be EGOT soon,
Yeah,
so we ain't gonna
yeah.
take you out like that.
Right. Okay.
So, what was life before COVID?
Life before COVID was very similar, but except more social stuff. Hooking up with dinner, all the things that we all
When you're not in
do.
production or something.
Yeah. When we're not working, a lot of working, late nights, long days, and stuff like that. But yeah.
So why didn't you move to Hollywood versus New York?
I lived in LA for a minute before I moved to New York.
Oh, you did?
This was before I really got into the industry.
Okay.
An opportunity made itself available to me in the 90s. So that's how I came to New York. And I stayed. My family is in Baltimore here, in Baltimore. I'm in DC now. So I'll put it like this. If an opportunity to go to LA presents itself, I'll take it. But I won't go the way that I did back when I was, 20, 22 years old, because I was homeless for the first 2 months when I lived
go
there.
back. You was doing what now? Homeless.
When I moved to my best friend and I moved in my early 20s. We packed up our stuff. One day we just decided, hey, let's go to Hollywood. Let's move to Hollywood. I was like, yeah, you know, you're 20, you know, and that's what you do. So anyway, I had a couple $100. So we go. We pack up his Chevette, and he had a Chevette at the time, and we drive cross country. We did it in 48 hours. In 2 days, we get there. And
so y'all was homeless by choice.
we get there, and the person that was supposed to host us and let us stay there disappeared. He was nowhere to be found. And
he set y'all
we
up.
find no, he did not intentionally. We found out that he got arrested, was in jail,
Oh,
and we had no other, you know, friends or
wow!
whatever
Because you
out
didn't
there.
know anybody.
Didn't know anybody out there.
So what did y'all do to survive?
We lived in the car for 2 months.
Wow!
One of the smart things that I did was I filed my taxes right away. As soon as I got there. So 2 months later, back that was what I used as a deposit for an apartment.
Wow!
But for 2 months, it was rough. Going day to day, not having food. I remember my
How
roommate.
did y'all bathe? And
We every day we
Went to
would.
the
Nobody
gym?
knew we were homeless because we would go and we would socialize in the park with other people and stuff like that. But what we did is every morning we would get up, we would drive to the gas station. We would go in the gas station bathroom, bathe, change clothes. Our stuff was in storage, so we would go back and forth to the storage place, to the U-Haul place, and change clothes and stuff like that. So we figured a way to make it work.
Wow!
And luckily the weather was warm. And,
right,
you know, it wasn't
right,
like it was
exactly.
here.
So y'all was adamant about staying out there.
Yeah, you
and
couldn't call back
probably-
home, Mom, I'm homeless, because, you know, they worry about you.
They're gonna tell you to bring your behind home.
Yeah.
Child,
You're
man,
2,500 miles away, and you can't just, you know,
behind back home.
all of that.
You ain't doing
Yeah,
this.
yeah. I think it would have been more than worry
You were,
for us.
yeah.
And they definitely would have wanted us to come home. I had
Yeah.
a dream, and I wanted to make it happen.
Oh, okay, very well. Let's segue into. No, we're gonna take a little break because we got 2 more reels to show, and we got some more conversation with Teren Carter.
Be right back.
We'll be right back. We gotta pay them bills. Get that. Are we off?